this love I have in me that I feel not just for one person, but for people, for the world, for myself, for living, that's something that the world can't take away from me.
I try to remember the wrath of the devil. Nobody, 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 nobody. So I'll be the only heartbreaker.
Mitski, welcome back to the Netherlands. You played a wonderful, heartbreaking show last night in Utrecht. In de grote zaal. This beautiful venue, this beautiful room. And you're super involved with picking and choosing the places that you play. Can you explain that a little bit? Because the fans were like going nuts. It was sold out immediately, and you choose to play like you prefer the smaller rooms with the best acoustics, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel bad now because I realize now that it's created this feeling of scarcity, which I didn't intend.
No.
But originally, my strong feeling was for this album, I really want to present it in a room where everyone is seated, everyone can see what's happening on stage with their eyes and not have to rely on a screen. And for this music, I just wanted that intimate, beautiful theater experience instead of one giant venue. And of course, I also love arena shows because it brings all these people together. But just for this album, I felt like this was the best way for me to present it.
Yeah, and the entire show, the entire experience, you played the album from front to back. And I was wondering, were you like more busy with looking into faces in the crowd? Because as you experienced, it felt very personal and very close.
Well, my little secret is that I need glasses, and I take my glasses off for the show so that I can't see anyone. So it's all a blur, and I feel less nervous.
So I felt really special. I was thinking like, oh, she's looking at me, she's looking into, but it was just like, no.
I'm sorry. I mean, you can still believe that if that helps the performance for you. And same with like, I have in-ear mics, and so like I'm basically kind of partially deaf and blind when I go into it, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that's a crazy experience.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And you will be back in the Netherlands next year in May, doing the shows in Carré. I think that's also like a choice of you to play in that venue. Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, like I said, for this, this year was more like a promotional presentation of the album that's more acoustic. That we did stripped down performances. Next year we'll have full production, full visual production, but it's still the same feeling. I wanted a feeling of like, okay, I can see the person performing and feel them with my own kind of like eyeballs.
Yeah. And how is the album feeling for you with the live experience right now? Because for us it feels fresh and new. It's just released and now you're presenting it to the audience.
It's so funny, album cycles, because for us artists, I don't know about other artists, but for me, as soon as I'm done with an album, I feel done. It's like separate from me, so it's a little bit strange to go through an album cycle and have this thing that for me personally feels done that's new for other people. And I think the songs almost take on a completely different meaning for me once I start performing it. And that's helpful because it's not like I'm reliving the writing process while I'm singing every time. It's
that
more
was what
like,
I was wondering.
It's just, it's almost not mine anymore. You know, I feel like once I put out an album, I'm giving it away and it's a gift that I'm selling.
Yeah. And it's so cool because you're gonna play My Love, Mine, All Mine in the session here on Triumph. I'm super happy to have the song here. Could you like explain a little bit more about the concept of like love remaining? Like as you explained it, when you eventually die, you like wish there was still some loving left. Was there like a certain person or someone maybe who's still around that was maybe the starting point of this song, of this thinking?
It wasn't a specific person for me. If the listener has a specific person they think of, I love that, and they should again own it for what they think it is. But for me, it was more like every material thing in my life felt so temporary. Everything goes away, even my body changes, and I'm going to die, and I don't know what happens after death. And you can't take any of your possessions with you when you die. And I just felt like, oh, I actually own nothing. But then I started thinking, well, this love I have in me that I feel, not just for one person, but for people, for the world, for myself, for living, that's something that the world can't take away from me, and no one can break as long as I hold on to it. And it just felt so powerful and important that I realized that for myself, because it felt like, oh, nothing can really hurt me. I mean, people can hurt my body, the world can take stuff away from me, but as long as I keep loving, that's all mine. Yeah.
My baby here on earth showed me what my heart was worth. So when it comes to be my turn, could you shine it down here for her this month?
That's beautiful and that's deep, and you explained that like the melody came to you when you were carrying groceries. It
Yeah.
sounds so casual, but the thinking of earth and dying and everything is so deep.
Well, the chorus I thought of while I was carrying groceries home, and my groceries were really heavy, and I really didn't want to be walking home with them. And when I want to not experience what I'm experiencing, I often think of songs in my head, and I was just like making up songs as I went along, and that was one moment where I was like, wait a minute, this might be good. And so I went home and like recorded a voice memo of it, and then I put it together with other ideas I had. So it wasn't like the whole song came to me on a grocery walk home. But
You do that often, like dissociate these two.
I do.
Yeah? What are the situations? Because I can imagine like, oh, the groceries carrying and what kind of moments?
You know, it's not good to dissociate. I'm not trying to recommend it, but I think it's a coping mechanism I adapted and adopted into my life from a young age, because I moved around a lot and nothing felt like it was in my control. And I was often in places I didn't know and I didn't understand. But so in those moments, I would just go into my head and I would make up stories, I would make up songs, and that would be a way for me to sort of comfort myself. And that's kind of been a skill I've had, I suppose, or I've developed.
Because you mentioned like you moved a lot when you were younger and lived in different countries, and you called this album your most American record. Could you explain that a little bit to me? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm always wondering what it means to be American, and the thing, I because I didn't necessarily grow up in America, but I am called American. I have American citizenship. That's always been kind of a interesting question for me. And I don't think Americans realize how much the rest of the world is looking at America and wondering what it's gonna do, what it is. And the rest of the world kind of like understands America through movies and music and media. So I kind of drew a lot from traditionally American music, like country music, American folk music, and I also drew from Western films, like cowboy films, and just ideas about America, not necessarily, I mean, while I'm trying to figure out what it means to be American, I'm almost approaching it as a foreigner and trying to understand it through its media and through outside perception of it. So I think that's what it means. Although probably in a few years I'll actually fully understand what this album means, but right now that's as close as I can get.
And I love that like the cowboy element is always coming back. When you're talking in your music, I saw someone in the audience with like a hat. They were waving when you got off stage. Thank you so much for your time. My final question would be, since it's kind of Set Go Autumn, and I saw like the playlist that you're included in, it's called like Scarf Season, Fall Feels, Heartbreak Girl Autumn. What anthem would you suggest our viewers or listeners right now to listen to get, you know, through Set Go Autumn?
That's hard. Well, since we're talking about American music, one of my favorite, it's not necessarily sad girl, but one of my favorite kind of seasons changing songs is Take Me Home Country Road by James Taylor. That feels like such a, the leaves are falling and things are changing and I feel a little bit melancholy, but not like sad.
No. But it helps you get through it, right? There's a light at the end.
And it's just a song that I love singing, and I feel like it's so popular because people love singing it, and so you can sing it to yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna do that on karaoke tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and really looking forward to the session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.